audience. I think it's about time for another Player 4 Midnight Snack.
I hope you're hungry.
Was I supposed to bring an appetizer or something? Because I didn't bring enough for the class. I'm sorry.
BYOA.
Bring your own appetizer. But it's okay. I brought my own snack. Welcome to the Player 4 podcast. I am Tristan, a.k.a. Shagrazir on the Rooster Teeth website.
I am Alex, a.k.a. Chaos Black 21.
I'm Joseph, a.k.a. Jay Dunlap, and we have someone with us.
Special guest.
Is it my turn now? Do I get to introduce myself? Yay! I am Lauren, a.k.a. Oboe Crazy from the Glib Shark podcast.
I know you guys.
I'm slowly taking
Welcome,
over all
Lauren,
of the Rooster
a.k.a.
Teeth
Oboe
podcasts.
Crazy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, Glib Shark's slowly taking over all the podcasts.
Pretty much. We're heading out there. You know, eventually we're going to end up on the Rooster Teeth podcast, and then we will have achieved our final form. It'll be amazing.
Would you say that
Wait,
it's like a feeding frenzy for Glib Shark?
See, now I'm hungry.
Just-
It's BYOA.
This is the worst possible time for me to be No one wants to listen to me masticating on air. That's the worst thing ever.
I agree with you on that one.
It's finally
Wait,
somebody
so-
else
so
who
when-
uses the word masticate.
So when you get onto the Rooster Teeth podcast, will the rooster and the shark combine together into one?
Rooster
Ooh.
Shark.
Chicken
I-
jaws?
I pictured the rooster riding the shark.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
maybe there will be jumping involved. I don't know, but for that one moment, it will be epic.
4 little rooster sharks.
We just jumped the shark.
Aww.
No, I don't want to end up dead. I don't want to be on that show.
Half women, half sharks that won't even go out with me.
All right, before we jump to that topic,
I was quoting Tucker.
He
'Cause
was.
He was talking about half women, half sharks.
and then I said jump.
Yeah, jump my half woman, half shark. Which
Yes.
sounds wrong on all levels.
And we're embracing the tangent again.
Yes. Embrace it, love it, caress
So
the
that
circle.
that first segment we're supposed to do.
Yes,
that
that's what I was trying to
I
get
always
towards.
forget about.
And it reminded me because Oboe Crazy was saying masticate, and I thought, well, that's a fancy word. And so was our first segment, which
and
is
another thing.
and another thing.
And
Alex?
the fluffy thing.
Okay.
He's got to say it.
So, for those of you, including Oboe Crazy, who may have not heard an episode before, our first segment and another thing is an opportunity for us to correct each other on previous episodes, or to bring up points that we didn't get to make, or point out things that happened in the previous episode.
I made a lot of extra work for Joseph because I didn't turn my air conditioner off last week. Sorry, Joseph.
Oh, that added like an hour of work.
Apparently I was in a tunnel too.
Okay, see, when I was first working on it, it would happen like Alex would start talking, and then all of a sudden I would start to hear. So I was like, Alex, you sound like you're going through a tunnel. But then it turned out it was that Tristan hadn't turned off his air conditioner. It just
really
so happened to
warm in
get
here.
louder when Alex was talking. And I think it
Probably
was,
because when Alex was talking, I was not.
that's what I was going to say. It's probably that Skype picked it up more because you weren't talking. But you guys were having a lot of back and forth last week, so it was mostly Alex that I had to scrub through.
I mean, other than that, I thought last week was great and wouldn't change a thing.
You wouldn't change anything?
No.
No.
I was just thinking you missed the perfect opportunity to say, I'm not in a tunnel. I'm going through hyperspace.
Hyperspace
I'm terrible.
transitions.
He's still up in the air.
I never think of it in time.
Or
On the
space.
next on the next PowerPoint, we need hyperspace transitions from frame to frame.
Oh, well, next time we have a panel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Regardless of what the panel is, it's going to have a PowerPoint, and there's going to be transitions all over the place.
There better be star wipes for your next panel.
Did I not have star wipes?
You did not have a single goddamn star wipe. Can I swear on your podcast?
She
I'm
said a
sorry.
bad word.
Am
It's
I allowed
okay,
to-
he'll bleep it.
Am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
It's fine.
Technically,
I have
no.
a bleeping tool.
So okay, so the answer is no, Oboe. You are not allowed to swear on my podcast.
You
No,
could
it's
have
fine.
a whole sentence of swearing and it'll just be like beep 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 beep
Yeah.
beep.
It's
It'll
so-
sound like, the morning news
It'll
or
be
whatever.
breaking news.
There you go. That's what I was trying to
This
think of.
just in, Oboe Crazy.
I could just bleep myself, I am a bleeping professional.
Well, I want to hear this.
The bleeping professional part?
Sure.
Okay.
Just calling her out.
Now, is this that you want me to actually display my credentials and give you my experience actually being on the radio, or do you want me to read something? Because I'll just read something.
Copy of
You
your
should
resume.
just read something.
I should just read something. Okay, hold on. Let's go to IO9, which is my favorite place for This Week in Geek. Am I taking us away from your complaining about last week, or have we officially moved on from that?
I think we've pretty much moved on. It was the only issue was the air conditioner last week. It was a fun episode. We just kind of shot the breeze and talked about life. So, I mean, we can move on.
Just give us a nibble.
All right, I have found
Phrasing.
pictures of bananas on IO9, and so this has to be an interesting story. So
I thought you were going to read a picture of bananas.
I am. That's how good I am, guys. Banana for scale. I'm going to read you a banana. No, so normally for This Week in Geek, which is a segment I do on Glib Shark, I do a little bit more prep in where I actually pick out a couple of stories to read ahead of time. But in this case, let's just grab. So we're grabbing this IO9 headline, which is, here is Adobe's attempt to stop people from using the term Photoshop all willy-nilly. And this is going to prove how much of a bleeping professional I am. I just made willy-nilly sound good. All right. So according to IO9, quote, poor Adobe. Along with everyone pre-eulogizing Flash, the only other property of theirs that you can name, Photoshop, is in danger. Intellectual property danger. Do you want me to continue?
This sounds fun.
Dramatic readings by OboeCrazy.
I just had a flash to Starship Troopers where they punctuated each scene in that movie with a news report. Kind of RoboCop style, and at the end of the news report, you would just get like the headline, and then it would say, "Would you like to know more?"
Yeah.
At the end of every segment, because it was the idea that you could click on it.
Yeah, it was basically BuzzFeed before BuzzFeed appeared. It was amazing. That movie sucks, but that moment was amazing.
It
So
sucks,
when you
but
said, "Would you like?"
It's like a good suck.
Kind of. It had the right idea.
Phrasing.
It had the right idea, and Neil Patrick Harris is awesome in anything he does.
Everything he does.
Everything he does is amazing. I love that man. I want him to marry me, except he is not interested in me at all. Also,
That's
Luke
the
is
only
really, really upset.
I
Luke
have a
might say,
couple of
"Sorry."
imaginary Luke McKays that would have something to say about that.
They'd all be going, sorry, sorry.
I don't know. He likes Neil Patrick Harris too. He might be totally okay with that. I don't know. But Neil Patrick Harris might have a problem
I'm
with
concerned
that.
about the direction this is going.
No, it's about Neil Patrick Harris. Here, I'm going to Google Neil Patrick Harris. Maybe I can read an article about him.
No, that's not what I was concerned about.
Hold on. Neil Patrick Harris.
No, when she said, "Would you like me to continue?" That's just what it made me think of, was that Starship Troopers thing. That's how we got here.
No, you said that we can't swear in this podcast, so I'm going to walk away from that. But I will read you some
said
of
you
Neil
could self-censor. I was hoping that you would bleep yourself.
I did. I just said that Neil Patrick Harris is bleeping awesome.
Okay, that's not as dramatic as I
She
was
is a
hoping.
professional bleeper.
Yes, that was dead air. That's how
bleeping
professional
professional.
I am. Dead air. Here, I'll tell you. Okay, so instead of just reading stuff online, I'm not really a professional. I just play one on TV.
Okay.
But
Go
I've
on.
had real radio experience back in the days of Caves and Fire when there was no such thing as podcasts. When I was living in Florida, I was on a real radio show called Sci-Fi Overdrive, which was syndicated across the country. And we were a 4-hour radio show that did interviews. We read just geek news. We chatted about geek news. It was my foray into what would now become the world of podcasting, and it was kind of trial by fire because I'm a performer by trade, but on an instrument, not necessarily talking. So this is my first chance to perform in some other way, and it's definitely a different type of performing, and it was pretty hard because going from nothing to a 4-hour weekly show online and interviewing George Takei, who just is awesome, was a bit of a leap, a bit of an amazing leap. But yes, I've had the chance to do this semi-professionally.
That's pretty
and
awesome.
then radio died.
Because video killed the radio star. We
Something
need an
killed
autopsy
something.
on
That's
that.
all I'll tell you the most impressive bit of voice acting that I've seen online recently. There's a video out there of the guy who does Dirty Jobs, Mike Rowe. There we go. His name escaped me for a moment.
I just want to know if you caught it.
If I what?
The name, if you caught it when it escaped.
Yes, I caught it and I reeled it back. So Mike Rowe, he was on the show Dirty Jobs on Discovery Channel, and he does voiceover for basically every single Discovery Channel show ever of all time. And there's this video out there of him doing narration, I think for Deadliest Catch. I'm unsure, but he didn't have a script. Someone had already read the script aloud and recorded it, and he was re-recording it by listening to the person talking and then repeating what they were saying as they were doing it. And it was kind of amazing. And it reminded me a lot of that parlor game that people were doing on iPhones, and where you'd talk into your iPhone and your iPhone would play back.
Zapper.
Exactly. And that's super difficult to do. And what he was doing was like the next step of that is listening to someone else talk, repeating what they're saying, and acting it. And it was super impressive. So look up that video online, listeners. It's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be in the link dump. Right, Alex?
Yeah.
Yes, the link dump.
About that.
You know that thing that every episode.
If someone really tells me to put in a link dump, I will make a link dump for the stuff.
Well,
it's
you
just
done
usually
been
people don't
told.
tell me to.
I want you to bleep out all of this. This was all just one big swear word.
Spoiler cast.
We don't have Haley here to bleep over.
Do we bleep over her when she's tearing her pants again?
She only tore her pants like once, and that was a long time ago.
Twice.
She also
Twice?
hits herself a lot.
She did hit herself in the face one time.
Both of those are pretty epic, though, and worth mentioning on a very regular basis.
See?
Oh, yeah,
You
it's-
can't let people live these things down.
There's
You
probably
can't let
going
them get
to be
away
a
with that.
T-shirt, just a list of things that Haley has done to herself on the podcast. But how is everyone doing? What's everyone up to these days?
Working
So you got a job?
Working crappy jobs.
Working crappy jobs.
Working really, really crappy jobs.
I'm sorry. What happened
Like
to...
actual jobs that involve with crap.
So he's the poop
You
sniff.
know, it's not far off.
I wanted to share some personal stuff that has been going on with me, because I just started teaching at a university this week.
Congratulations.
Hey.
So I'm teaching
Those
music theory,
whippersnappers.
which is about as nerdy as you get unless you're teaching advanced mathematics.
I don't know. Sight singing is pretty darn nerdy.
Sight singing. I get to start teaching that tomorrow, because
Yeah.
the first 2 days, of course, was syllabi. But today, I got to teach the music theory. And with my second year class, the sophomore class, we actually got real in depth. It was great, and we got out like 2 minutes late because we got so in depth.
Now, do you consider yourself the fire and brimstone of music theory, or are you trying to honestly teach these kids, or like what's your teaching style?
Define fire and brimstone in that context.
Okay. When I was an undergrad music major, we had a professor who was notorious for being the gate to hell. And she was the one that usually taught some of the harder music theory and sight singing courses. And she was ruthless and super difficult. And her philosophy was, if you could get through her classes, because she usually taught the freshman and sophomore year classes, you deserved to be a music major. And so she was the literal fire and brimstone of theory.
I do not consider myself the gatekeeper for the music program. I consider myself one of the beginning guiding spirits of the music majors, because I'm one of the first people they see in the department, because they have their private lessons, they have me, they have whoever's conducting their ensemble, be it band or choir, and that's really all they're going to see, except for, I guess, music history. We have a thing called like the early alert system. Oh, my daughter is crying. I'll be right back.
So the early alert system is what happens when the tuba player actually farts into their tuba. That smell can propagate throughout the entire music school in the span of minutes. And so alarms are positioned with special detectors to try to warn students before that wave of odorous stench reaches them, because the last thing you need are the freshmen actually puking during their 101 classes, because if you've never seen a vocalist puke, it is impressive and disgusting all at the same time, because they have been eating the most foul, just, healthiest, crappiest things. And then, of course, all the violinists are smokers. So when they puke, it's just nothing but cigarette butts. So the more you can actually warn the students to evacuate the building before they get the tuba stench, the better off that they are.
So does it play an arpeggio? Is that what goes on?
If they're really talented, sometimes they'll play a little tune. That's usually the upperclassmen. Underclassmen, the instant they try it, they're basically
it's an advanced maneuver.
That's something that they have to do to actually advance to the next level. Their junior year, the only way that they can pass is if they can do scales through farting. They need to get through all of the major minor scales as well as some of the melodic and harmonic minors in order to be able to pass to senior level.
Oh my gosh, I think that's the most music stuff I've ever learned. I took a music class and I've learned more from this than that.
It's the butt chromatic scale.
This was interesting to come back to.
Oh, you're going to love editing this.
I was just, explaining, at least in my school, what it meant by the early alert system. But what does it mean in your school?
It is a system by which we can aid students who are struggling. If we notice that a student is not coming to class, then we can use the early alert system to, if they're not coming to class, alert their other professors or their advisor that they aren't. So that if they're going to those classes, then the professor can say, hey, why aren't you going to this class? You need to be going to that to pass and graduate. But also, if they're coming to class and they're struggling, it's a way that we can get them into tutoring as quickly as possible so that they don't fall through the cracks. And it's partially because it's a private school, so we have a very good ratio of professors to students, and we try and maximize that advantage. And that's one way we can do that.
That could be hard in a performance music school, especially because of just the nature of the amount of students you need to fill out an orchestra. You need 3 oboes at most, but you need like 25 to 40 violins. So it can skew sometimes a little bit for your student-teacher ratios.
Oh, certainly. And we don't really have that set up like an orchestra. It's more of a music educator program. Almost all of my students are going to go on to lead bands or choirs, and a handful want to teach at a collegiate level at some point, and then a very small handful want to just be performers. And so that's kind of another reason that we have this system in place and the high ratio and everything is because it will then make them better teachers.
Well, that's super cool. And we had something similar for students who are struggling, but we also had a much higher percentage of performance-only majors, and that breeds competition. So
certainly.
There's only so much you can do.
Oh, yeah. I prefer, you might say the word community, such as the RT community.
Are we transitioning? Is this a transition?
I mean, we could. I'm just saying, I'm big on community, and that's one of the things that drew me to the RT community. And so I like teaching at a smaller school with a better ratio because of the community that you feel rather than competition. But we can segue to RT if we want to.
We have the smoothest segues.
Ooh, so smooth, so silky.
I just shaved. No, I'm just kidding. I don't shave.
I did too.
Except for when you take your beard away.
Can we talk a little bit about the fact that they announced the date and the location of the Laser Team premiere, and the fact that I'm probably not going to be able to go?
No.
I would like to go too, but
Me too.
I teach, and Alex is a student. I don't think that's going to happen.
Or more to the point, they gave us a month. What the hell?
Yeah, I was wondering just the other day when they were going to announce the date, because it's been forever, and all of a sudden it's like, by the way, it's in a month. Which is kind of what they did with Let's Play Live, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
A little bit, yeah.
They did way back say it was supposed to happen around September.
Well, as far as people wanting to travel to see the premiere, since it's such a limited premiere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of that type of thing, I've just signed into the RT site for like the first time in, let's say, 5 days. And in my news feed was a post by Miles, and Miles was saying that they're going to be showing the entirety of
Yes.
RVB 13 at the at a bunch of Alamos. So I clicked on his link to do the Austin Alamo. They're only showing it at South Lamar, and this post, mind you, he just posted yesterday. It's already totally sold out. Like I thought I might buy a ticket. It's gone.
I'm probably, by the time I figure out if I can go to Kansas City, it'll be sold out again.
Yeah, there is not an Alamo near me. There's no way that I can go and do that either. Although I may just get together with a whole bunch of friends and we'll put it on someone's big screen TV and just watch the whole season right there in the comfort of someone's home. I don't know. We'll do our own marathon.
I don't have friends, but I'll watch it on my TV.
I'm not your friend at all.
Well, you're kind of far away, unless you wanted to drive over and watch it on my TV.
Well, how far away is it?
It's like a 3-hour drive.
3 hours.
3 hours? Kansas City's 4 hours.
You're not driving to see me. We've already established this. You don't drive over to see me.
If I drive to Kansas City, it's longer for me to go to Kansas City than it is for you guys to meet up.
And your point is?
You guys are complaining about it, that it's so far away.
No, I said I was going to have a marathon of my own by myself, probably with my wife, if she's not working. And then Tristan said, well, I'm your friend. And I said, well, it's not like you... I was basically saying it's not like he can just make the drive just because he wants to, because it's a commitment to drive 3 hours.
So?
6 hours if you include the drive back.
Yeah, no kidding, right? I appreciate, by the way, that you
just stay there
dropped
for
me
a day.
off and then stayed around for a day, helped me out with the kids, and then went home. I appreciate that a lot.
Hey, no problem. I'm just worried that I'll come and visit again and more bad things will happen. I think that I'm a harbinger here.
Yeah.
One time is not a harbinger. I think one time is just one time. I think we need a little bit more empirical evidence before we can call you the bringer of death and destruction.
Empirical.
He'll teach him another word.
Empirical evidence.
He's going to teach my kids more words.
Yeah, every single time he goes over, he's going to teach him one word.
Yeah, next time it'll be butts. Then they'll have 2 butts. Then you'll have to deal with that.
What?
Good choice, sir.
You're going to teach them how to say 2 butts instead of 1, so it's twice as bad?
It's twice as bad.
On paper it is, I guess.
It's true. I could say fanny.
Fanny.
Rump.
No, I like fanny. They can go around saying it like Stewie. Fanny.
Fanny.
Yeah, it's fun to teach kids to say weird words like that because my dad and my older sister, before I was even born, watched a lot of Popeye. And my older sister went to kindergarten talking like Popeye. Like wash the dishes. And the teacher contacted my mom with concern. Why is she talking weird? Does she have an impediment? And she's like, no, it's my husband who's been encouraging her so far up to this point to talk like Popeye, and I need to get him to stop. So I did not do that.
This is why I
with my
don't want
son.
children.
Hey, look. You blame me for butt. But what was your son saying before I ever even met him face to face?
Refresh me, because he says a lot of things.
Chicken crap?
Okay, yes. Let's talk about that. Because we have the clips up on the YouTube channel from P4 Streams, which was just a single day, but multiple clips where you and I were playing together and streaming. And there was the chicken craps incident. We won't talk about the Desert Temple incident where you forgot about the pressure plate. We won't talk about that.
I want that made into a 3-second clip just for me.
I can do that. Who is clapping?
Me.
Oh, okay.
I have a bottle here that's being stupid. Anyway, yes, so chicken craps.
So I don't know if Alex ever saw it. I think Alex saw it a while back, and then Lauren, you probably haven't seen it, but I was playing Minecraft with Tristan, and I was live streaming on my Twitch, and my son was sitting next to me. He's 5 years old. And
he loves Minecraft.
He loves Minecraft. He plays it on the Xbox, his little hands all over the controller. He goes to.
I think all 5-year-olds are legally required to love Minecraft at this point.
Yeah, no kidding. He went to his first day of kindergarten this week, and he was wearing a Minecraft shirt and got compliments from his peers. And
There you go.
He made some friends today, finally.
Instant friends.
So he's standing next to me while we're streaming, and he says, "Whoa, Daddy, look at all those chicken craps." I'm like, "What did you just say?" Chicken craps. And I go down to the village that we're looking at, and there's rabbits hopping around on a dock. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about. It's like, you mean these rabbits here? So he's full
And
of
he
crap.
goes, yeah, chicken
So
crap.
he goes, yeah, chicken craps. He's full of crap, though. Because I think I figured out what he was talking about. He was talking about the bridges. Because the bridges were in the village on the dock were a lot like the Singaporean bridges on Pirates of the Caribbean 3. Where it's got the cover over it and the wicker wall. And it was like that. I had like railing across the side of the bridge, and it was completely covered, but you could see through it. And he thought it was a chicken coop because he watches Reading Rainbow a lot. And there's an episode that he and his sister loves Reading Rainbow.
Lamar Burton.
Yes, they're watching a Reading
She's got
Rainbow
good taste.
YouTube playlist right now to keep him busy.
Jordy!
And yeah, so there's an episode with chickens, and there's a chicken coop. I almost said chicken crap. There's a chicken coop, and I think he was looking at the bridges. There were 2 of them, and he thought they were chicken coops. That's
Those are
what
some
I
big
think-
chickens.
I guess villager-sized chickens.
But he said crap instead of coop.
He did, and then I asked him, "Are you talking about the rabbits?" And he's full of crap. So he
said yes.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So now rabbits are chicken craps. And for the rest of the night, whenever we went back to that village, we were like, "Oh, look at the chicken craps."
Joseph, I lassoed one of the chicken craps.
You did. You were lassoing it, and you were flying around with it. I watched a YouTube video today, or yesterday, that was the top 10 fourth wall breaks in cinema and TV. And it was just either scenes or shows, like persistent shows or all the way through a movie or that kind of thing, where the fourth wall is just broken all the time.
They're going to have to update that when the Deadpool movie comes out.
You're beating me to the punch.
Ah! I'm awesome.
But one of them was Men in Tights, when they were talking about, oh no, he gets another shot. It's in the script. See, look at the script. And also Spaceballs, when they're watching themselves on the TV. This is us right now.
But when?
When will that be now?
Soon.
So, number 1 was Deadpool. Prior to the movie that he's going to be in, his appearance on screen was on The Amazing Spider-Man. Now, if Haley were here, she would have just exploded into a pile of fangirl. The only thing that's worse is when we bring up Jason Todd.
Don't do it.
So
Just like appear in the call.
that is, yeah, she's going, like, no, she went to the dentist today, and her mouth is numb, so she'd get into the call and go, "Bleh." So, anyway, that segues into Deadpool, because I am so excited for the Deadpool movie. And we've already talked about it, but we haven't talked about it with you, Lauren, so what would you like to say about it?
That it looks awesome, and I'm excited. And the fact that every time they show a little bit more, I get more excited. I do have one complaint, though. The latest trailer, and by latest, I mean the one that came out, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, kind of tells the first 30 minutes of the movie's story. And I'm a little annoyed by that.
We already kind of knew the first 30 minutes of the story, though.
Well, yeah, but I'm a little annoyed by trailers doing that with movies. I'm pretty sure I saw the first hour of the Fantastic Four movie in the trailer.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's and hearing the reviews, I hear it's the first hour and a half. Oh, snap.
Really?
The whole film.
They
Kind of.
promised a better movie than they produced, I think.
No, that's the sad legacy of the Fantastic Four movies.
It's
But yeah,
true.
that's
How many times do we have to see the Fantastic Four get created?
I
destroyed.
think this was
4.
the death. Call it,
Yes.
Dr. Tristan,
Yeah.
because this is the end for Fantastic Four.
Oh.
No,
Time of
there-
death?
There'll be another one because they don't want to give up the rights to it. But back to Deadpool, I'm only slightly annoyed by the fact that they did that, because it kind of sucks that, okay, we have to watch the origin story of Deadpool in the trailer to then see the origin story of Deadpool and the origin story of Deadpool. But I like the fact that at least in what we've seen, they're sticking fairly true to his character and a little bit his origin story. And I think we haven't seen even a tenth of what's going to happen in that movie. So unless I'm wrong and him turning into Deadpool is going to take a friggin' hour and a half, I'm still very excited.
Well, there's a whole aspect to the story that they haven't even hinted at, but we know is going to happen, which is Morena Baccaran's character turning into Copycat. Because
or at least showing up as... I don't think it's her origin story too, right? I think...
all anyone knows, is that she tweeted when they started filming that her chair said her character's name, I don't remember her character's name, and Copycat on the chair. Mm-hmm. So either they're planning it in the future, or they're planning it for this movie and they've kept it under wraps, and that would be cool. But there's plenty that we haven't seen. That we see. You're right. We see the first 30 minutes, but we don't see much more after that. We just see that one scene that used to be the test footage that they kind of touched up and extended.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
No, I'm super excited. I'm definitely going to see that opening weekend, and Deadpool has been a character that's been a long road for me, and I've never really gotten into his standalone comics. It's always been his appearances in other things. And I'm all in. I'm all in on this movie.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been as excited for a superhero movie, a Marvel movie, since, I guess, Guardians of the Galaxy. And this movie has the potential to beat Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm saying it now.
I think so, because Deadpool has a lot more name recognition than Ant-Man ever did.
I actually wanted to go off on a tangent here about...
Tangent away.
Trailers telling you way too much.
Yes.
Because there's a TV show called Supergirl.
Oh yes, although I haven't seen. Apparently, didn't the first episode, the whole first episode, leak online or something? And then
it was something like that. And the trailer was kind of encompassing, as far as I could tell, the first 3 episodes from what I could see.
Ugh.
And it really just gave away. It was a really long trailer. It gave away, in my estimation, the first 3 to 4 episodes. And I wanted to be excited for it because I've seen Supergirl cosplayed so well over the years. Mm-hmm. And I gotta say, the cosplayers nail the look better than the look that they gave her for the TV show.
No, wait. Are we talking about Supergirl or Power Girl?
We're talking about Supergirl.
Okay.
The trailer was it was all over the place. They wanted to show how she came into her own as a superhero. They wanted to show the struggle she had with fighting with her adopted sister about wanting to come into her own and her sister having to accept it. They wanted to cover her struggles with accepting it. They wanted to cover the agency that she ends up working for. They wanted to cover the struggle she had as she's working at the agency, and everything was just this struggle, then this struggle, then this struggle, then this struggle. And it kind of got me thinking, is there a way to tell a story about a female superhero that doesn't involve struggle after struggle? Can she just be strong?
Isn't that show, is it a CW show? What channel is that on?
I will look.
Because I'm pretty
Isn't it like CBS or something?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a lot of those BC superhero shows are being billed more as kind of soap opera-y in general, and in order to appeal to a wider audience, and especially if you end up on the CW, you gotta have struggles, girl.
I think this is a CBS one, though.
Actually, I kind of lied. They're not really
It is
CBS.
And
yeah.
It was just everything she did was either, I can't do this, or should I do this? Everything was some sort of either she had to find the strength within her, or she has to find the mental strength or the emotional strength to do it. But not only that, but they give away, because it's such a long trailer, they give away a lot of the first season.
I will say this about the whole female superheroes being more emotional. That's a valid point, and yet when you've got Superman-like powers, when you are in the super category, and historically are so overpowered that it's almost impossible to come up with a challenge for, that poses a real challenge. I think going for emotional punch is kind of one of the ways you have to go, because if they are giving Supergirl the level of physical power that Superman does, which she should have, then you can't just throw planes, trains, and automobiles at her. You can't throw punches and asteroids. You can't throw physical things at her. It's not going to have any kind of real sense of danger. And the Superman comics that are the most interesting, the ones that actually work, are the ones in where he's in moral dilemmas, or he's got emotional issues, or there's more going on than he can just punch in the face. Oh, there you go. I said it.
Yeah.
And so
Bleep.
I think for them to go that route with Supergirl makes sense in a way, because she's going to have that same issue. You can't just throw stuff at her. She'll punch back. So it has to be the more nebulous issues. And once again, she's a teenager, and so they're going to throw teenage angst at her. Because
the word. It was too angsty.
Angsty.
Yeah.
A lot of my experience with Supergirl, actually, I'm a big cartoon kind of person, and I've always loved the superhero cartoons that they make, especially like the Cartoon Network. So they did Justice League Unlimited, which followed the Justice League series. And Justice League Unlimited, one of its main storylines was about Kara, who is Supergirl, coming into her own and becoming a hero as part of the Justice League. And her biggest trials were that she was constantly living in the shadow of her cousin, trying to show that she can do what he can do without, at the same time, trying to be humble and not upstage him. So it was a really interesting kind of dynamic where she was very bullheaded. She would go into situations believing herself as strong as Superman, and she just didn't have the tactical know-how, so she would get into trouble still. And the whole time she was just trying to show that she could do the job. It was an interesting story they told, I thought, where she's learning the ropes of being more than just a strong person, but being a smart hero as well.
That would have actually been a better story.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and the other thing from Justice League, from the animated series, that was excellent with Superman, actually, there's a moment, I think he's fighting Darkseid?
Yeah, Darkseid. Yes, Darkseid. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, and he has basically a little tiny monologue, and where he says, my problem on this planet is that everything is fragile. I am constantly having to meter myself and control myself because I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to destroy things. I don't want to be the destroyer, but I am so powerful in comparison to everybody else around here that I can never, I'm always holding back. But with you can take it, and I don't have to hold back with you. And that's an interesting thing to think about with Superman, as far as a way to limit his power is, as much as the last Superman movie got a lot of flack, I think that idea of him causing destruction even unintentionally is a way to go with curbing Superman's almost unlimited power.
I'm like bursting over here because that is one of my favorite scenes of like any time Superman is ever depicted. His exact line is actually, "I feel like I'm living in a world made of where everything, every person, and every building is made of cardboard."
Yep.
Because if he steps over the boundary even a little, he could wipe out entire cities. And so he's standing there, he's smiling at Darkseid, saying, "I don't have to hold back when I fight you." and it was the reason he wasn't going to hold back anymore. The other reason was because he was in the other dimension, which was the other reason he wasn't worried about it. So he just went to town on Darkseid.
Yeah. That is a great cartoon. I was a little less enthused with Justice League Unlimited, just because I felt like what I liked about the original cartoon was the original 7 and watching them interact with each other. And then when you just turned it into the superhero of the week, I was a little less interested. But like the Supergirl story and a lot of the other stories are still top-notch stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that like the big overarching plot, if you pay attention to the whole, if you take Unlimited as a whole series, it is, like you said, superhero of the week. But what I noticed, the overarching plot was getting the Green Arrow to join the Justice League, and then getting him and Black Canary together, which was kind of an interesting direction to go in. Not that wasn't the way the comic works, as it is. It was just an interesting direction for the show to go in. I thought that was an interesting story to choose to focus on, and I really loved the dynamic between Green Arrow and Black Canary in that show. They were great.
Mm.
Well, this has been a nice discussion.
And we end the show. Bam. Well, this has been a nice discussion. Goodbye.
I mean, we don't have to be that abrupt. But we do need to
Nope,
wrap
hang
it
it
up.
up.
We got to wrap up this week's midnight snack of Player 4 podcast featuring Oboe Crazy of the Glib Shark podcast that will one day be called Glib Teeth.
We're coming for you, Gus.
And typically, when we have a guest, we allow the guest to be the one to say goodnight to the audience.
Okay. In the words of Sidney Freeman from the last episode of MASH, ladies and gentlemen, take my advice, drop your pants, and slide on the ice. Good night.
That's cold.
And the puns. And the puns.
Slid
Good
on
night,
right by,
everybody.
didn't it?
Good night. I will turn this podcast around right now and take us back if you kids don't stop.